Okay, good day everyone. So today we'll be discussing about innovations. So we will go with the fourth topic, Maritime Just Transition Decarbonization by 2050. Okay, so as an engineer, a person who solves problems we didn't even know existed by using precision guesswork based on unreliable data provided by those of questionable knowledge. See also wizard and magician. Is this true? Maybe. Okay, so let's go with the introduction to Maritime Just Transition Decarbonization by 2050. So the Maritime Just Transition Decarbonization 2050 is a global initiative aimed at reducing carbon emissions in the shipping industry while ensuring a fair transition for workers, communities, and economies. It is driven by the IMO and the Paris Agreement, which target net zero emissions by 2050. So this transition involves technological advancements, alternative fuels, regulatory frameworks, and workforce adaptation to create a sustainable and environmentally responsible maritime industry. Okay, so what are the key innovations for decarbonization 2050? We have, in principle, replacing conventional marine diesel with low emission or zero emission fuel. So we have here different types of fuel, different types of alternative fuels. We have the liquefied natural gas (LNG), reduces CO2 emissions by 25%, NOx by 85%, and eliminates SOx. So for methanol and ammonia, emerging as carbon neutral solutions with ammonia producing zero CO2. That's a very great alternative fuel. Next, we have the hydrogen fuel cells enables zero emission propulsion utilizing renewable hydrogen. And the last one, we have biofuels derived from organic sources, reducing life cycle carbon emissions by 80%. So these are just some examples, some of the different types of alternative fuels that we can use for our decarbonization by 2050. So letter B, the next key innovation is the electrification and hybrid propulsion. So in principle, it uses battery, electric, or hybrid systems to reduce fuel consumption and emissions. So benefit, it reduces greenhouse gas emissions during low-speed operations and in port. Improves energy efficiency by integrating battery storage with diesel engines. Supports shore power, cold ironing, where ships could connect to a land-based electricity instead of running engines in port. So there are examples like the Norwegian cruise line uses battery-assisted propulsion, reducing fuel use by 20%. So in the picture below, we have different hydrogen batteries. We have solar panels. So this can all be used for electrification, the hybrid propulsion. Okay, another key innovation for decarbonization 2050 is the energy efficiency technologies. So in principle, it enhancing ship design and engine performance to lower energy consumption. So what are the different innovations? We have here air lubrication. We have waste heat recovery systems. So waste heat recovery systems converts exhaust heat into usable energy. So this was discussed also on our previous topics. We have the air lubrication system, ALS, the one that there is a bubble at the bottom of the ship. So injects air bubbles under the hull, reducing drag and fuel use. Next, fuel efficient engines, next generation marine engines with intelligent fuel injection and digital controls. Also putting paint, new technology paint in our hulls. Example for air lubrication systems on LNG carriers lead to 5 to 10% fuel savings. So another key innovation for decarbonization by 2050 is carbon capture and storage system for ships, so CCS. So in principle, capturing CO2 emissions from exhaust gases and storing them to prevent atmospheric release. So benefits, in directly reduces carbon emissions from traditional diesel engines, can be integrated into existing vessel designs without full fuel conversion. Example, our Mitsubishi Shipbuilding is developing onboard CCS systems for commercial use. So another key innovation is digitalization and smart shipping. So in principle, using data analytics, AI, and automation to provide ship performance. So key technologies, we have AI, artificial intelligence, predicts optimal routes, reducing fuel waste. Real-time emission monitoring ensures compliance with the IMO Carbon Intensity Indicator (CII). Autonomous ships or future development of AI-driven vessels for fuel efficiency. So example, the Rolls-Royce's AI-assisted autonomous ships for reduced fuel consumption. Okay, what are the regulatory framework and IMO strategies? So the IMO has introduced several policies to enforce decarbonization. So we have the EEXI, Energy Efficiency Existing Ship Index, ensures ships meet baseline fuel efficiency standards. For Carbon Intensity Indicator (CII), it requires ships to reduce CO2 emissions annually. For MARPOL Annex 6 imposes strict NOx and SOx limits. Emission Control Areas (ECAS) mandates use of low sulfur fuels in designated zones. Another regulatory framework. By 2050, the IMO aims for net zero greenhouse gas emissions from international shipping, 80 to 90% reduction in fossil fuel use, industry-wide adoption of zero carbon technologies. So what are the impacts of maritime just transition on workforce and economy? So decarbonization affects not only technology but also the maritime workforce. So the Just Transition Framework ensures that seafarers and industry workers adapt to new technologies without job losses or economic instability. So there are training and upskilling for seafarers, must learn new fuel handling techniques for LNG, ammonia, hydrogen, and digital ship management. Fair transition policies ensuring developing nations benefit from the shift to green shipping. Investments in green ports supporting shore power, hydrogen fuel stations, and eco-friendly infrastructure. Challenges and future outlook. So despite technological progress, maritime decarbonization faces challenges. First, we have the high costs. Alternative fuels and new ship designs require heavy investment. Fuel availability. So hydrogen and ammonia infrastructure is still developing. And for regulatory compliance, global enforcement of IMO policies needs further cooperation. However, by 2050, innovations in alternative fuels, digitalization, and efficiency systems will lead to a sustainable, carbon-free maritime industry. In conclusion, the Maritime Just Transition Decarbonization in 2050 is a crucial global effort to reduce carbon emissions, improve fuel efficiency, and support workforce adaptation. Through alternative fuels, hybrid propulsion, energy-efficient technologies, and digitalization, the shipping industry is progressing toward a net zero emissions future while ensuring economic stability for maritime workers. So that's it. I hope you have learned something today, and I'll see you on our next video. Goodbye!